Vibe Aesthetics and Wellness, we believe confidence isn't just how you look, it's how you feel. From subtle, natural aesthetics to personalized wellness care, everything we do is intentional. This is beauty with purpose. At Vibe Men's Health, we take that same approach. We focus on what matters most: strength, energy, and performance. Built on real data, real medicine, and real results, we're here to help you look better, feel stronger, and live fully. Come vibe with us today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 9.
While summer's still technically over a week away, we are already getting a taste of it today here in North Mississippi, and more of that is to come tomorrow and a few more days through the work week. I'm meteorologist Gabe. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 9. While we're tracking the heat ahead, we're also looking ahead to some hope. That's right, rain chances returning on the weekend, more widespread chances on the latter half of the weekend and really into Monday, but it will still be warm and muggy for those that don't get rainfall. So that's what we're talking about. Wanted to give you guys that notion of hope at the top of the show. Rain returning this weekend and bringing some of that rain-cooled air. Hot and muggy until then, and I will say hot and muggy through the rain chances as well. Will be some dry periods, and with the moisture still lingering around and with the heat still lingering around, unfortunately, we're still going to be hot and muggy even with the rain. Pop-up showers not impossible getting into Wednesday and Thursday. We'll track that out with our futurecast going county by county in just a moment. The first 12 are 79 degrees by 10, cooling. Not much. Cooling off there towards the start of our Wednesday, going to be in the low to mid 70s. You still have a nice southerly breeze, but not going to be overly windy by any means. Just basically supplying that moisture to keep those muggy conditions around, even for the start of our Wednesday. Now, I will say over in Amory, that is incorrect data. It does not feel like 129 degrees, although I think a few folks in Monroe County would argue that. We were actually in the low triple digits, so it's still toasty. Fortunately, not that toasty, but we are still seeing those warm temperatures linger around tonight. We are 81 degrees in Mabin. This is more like what we're expecting. 88, those feels like values down there in Webster County, and those subtle winds. Yeah, it's just not much of a breeze tonight down there in Mabin. Greenville, get a little bit more of those breezy conditions out of the southeast, again supplying that moisture, but it's not doing much in regards to any cooling off. We're still 82, feeling like 88, so not really getting much of that here in North Mississippi. As we look at those rainfall totals from today, we're talking about some of that rain-cooled air. Well, folks there in County got a bit of that, as we were a quarter of an inch there just west of Grenada. North of Oxford, closer to Abbeville, about 0.05 of an inch. Ashland coming in, that is, I can get a better number than that. There was more than 0.02 of an inch. There we go, 0.15 of an inch. How about that? And yeah, same thing there towards Abbeville as well. Nonetheless, we weren't getting a ton of rainfall, but a few pop-up showers, and more of that can be expected tomorrow. But when we compare that to areas around us, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, even up there towards Kansas, getting a ton of rainfall. I will say Auburn actually hosted a World Cup game, and the field was basically a washout this afternoon. I believe they were able to play it, but that's one thing we're watching as well. The World Cup is in the United States and for some of those games, and there will be a few locations that are dodging some showers and storms. So those international teams, welcome to America, where we have an active weather pattern too often. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar keeping those rain chances in Alabama and even south here in the Magnolia State, but overall coverage very minimal, especially comparing that to what folks are getting up there towards the north. We talked about this severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until midnight tonight for Kansas, and then as we look at this tornado watch, that's going to be in place for Nebraska, South Dakota, and Iowa up until midnight as well. But the really interesting feature is how often are we seeing more severe weather in Canada than here in Mississippi? I know the warnings aren't there, and once the storms do move into Canada, we don't have those warnings on there. But I will say, looking behind the scenes at some of our radar products, there's tornado warnings, there's severe thunderstorm warnings, and up in Canada, a much more active pattern. And we don't want any of that, but it's just a rare thing to happen where Canada's more active than here in Mississippi. But again, no complaints. So as we track that out on Futurecast tonight, we're going to remain mostly dry, honestly dry in entirety. I think any green blips that pop up are going to be more the mugginess in the air rather than actually producing any showers. So pre-dawn Wednesday, not tracking any showers. And even to the early hours of that morning commute, we're clear, we're beautiful. Only thing is we're muggy to start out the day, and it only goes up from there as we go about that morning forecast and even into the afternoon as well. Something our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will continue to look at as we go into tomorrow morning. She'll be tracking out those heat indices and temperatures coming up at 6:37 and 7:30 on your Wednesday morning. But looking at 6 o'clock on Wednesday morning, we're 73 degrees with plenty of sunshine, so we should have some great sunrises tomorrow morning. Snap those pictures and send it in to us on the Mississippi Live Weather app, and we'll feature those in our broadcast. As the day goes on, other pictures that you can send are ways to beat the heat. That's something we're going to be covering later on this week, as the heat is the big story, but the next 24, you're going to want to have ways to get out there and beat the heat as we are jumping into the low 90s for a good bulk of the afternoon. Coming up in the next 60 seconds, we're going to be talking about just how warm we'll be. We saw temperatures. What are those heat indices? We'll be looking at the very latest on that, as well as tracking out the rain chances. I've been calling it the hope in the future. We'll be tracking out that hope in much more detail coming up as Mississippi Live Weather at 9 continues right after the break.
It's a summer squeeze at Room to Room. We're squeezing prices with 50% off furniture and mattresses, an extra 20% off accessories, an extra 10% off rugs, plus 18 months special financing. Shopping at Room to Room is easy peasy lemon squeezy.
How do you know if your roofer is actually telling you the truth or just trying to sell you something you don't need? I'm Chris with Absolute Restoration. When we come out, we don't tell you what's wrong. We show you with photos, videos, and documentation. You'll see exactly what we see so you can make your own decision. And we back our work with a 50-year warranty and a 25-year algae warranty. Plus, no cost upgrades with 0% financing and no payment for 6 months.
At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Hot and muggy continues to be the story as we go through the rest of this week. So as you saw in the headline, keep the water handy, find ways to stay cool. If you're going outside, make sure to do it earlier on in the day. I'll be honest, I went out for a run around lunch, miserable beyond that point. I've been dealing with actually a subtle headache since then because even though I hydrated, it wasn't enough hydration. So overhydrate yourself to make sure that you're being taken care of. And a big shout out to my beautiful bride and my mom-in-law for helping me get a little bit more hydration tonight. Big thank you to them, because otherwise this would be a much more interesting 9 o'clock. Nonetheless, as we go through the 7-day forecast, you can see that that continues to be the story. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And then getting into the weekend, luckily the sky providing some hydration as rain chances return into the weekend, becoming more widespread into early parts of next week. Out in Crenshaw tonight, we continue to remain mild and muggy, 82 degrees, feeling like 88. And those dew points in the low to mid 70s, that's where they've been all day long. And that makes those feels like values really ramp up here in North Mississippi. We actually have a good shot. It always just amazes me. At 9 o'clock, we're still getting some hints of sunsets on the horizon there in Ackerman. We're 81 degrees, little to no wind, and dew points in the upper 70s. So that's really adding to that mugginess factor. And honestly, looking at that temperature and looking at the dew point, when dew points are in the upper 70s, that really limits how much we cool off overnight. So folks in Choctaw County might not be cooling off much from where you're at right now. And Alcorn County, up there in Ryanzi, we're 82 degrees, those dew points in the low to mid 70s. So that's really our floor that we talk about whenever those dew points are there. So whatever the dew point's reading, that's pretty much where your low temperatures will end up unless some drier air is able to filter in. But not seeing much change in the area from where we're sitting at right now. Of course, Amory is an exclusion, so and our folks in northern Monroe County, don't be looking at that because that is unfortunately incorrect on our reporting station. But we're 80 Tupelo and Bruce. That's more how it feels in Monroe County. 81 Starkville, 77 actually showing up in Louisville, 85 Clarksdale, and 82 Greenville. Looking at those dew points though, and this is what we've talked about, 79 Cleveland, that's your floor for how much we're going to cool off tonight. We do expect those to at least come down a bit, but probably going to be in the mid 70s to start out for folks there out in the Delta. 78 Tunica, another number that stands out. 76 South Haven, even 74 Senatobia. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley going to be unfortunately dealing with a pretty muggy environment up there in Tate County. 73 Louisville and Eupora. 79, I want to say that's an outlier, but I'm not saying that's impossible for Starkville. So not much cooling off tonight. 73 might be an ambitious number to put for some tonight because I think that's actually lower than where their floor will be. 78 by 11, 74 by 2, 73 by 5. We'll look at those low temperatures coming up in just a moment, but yeah, unfortunately, not everyone reaching the low 70s. Some going to be actually warmer than that to start our Wednesday. As we look at Futurecast, like I said, we're not expecting any showers tonight. Going to be dry across the region for any of those late night plans. I know a lot of folks out in Tupelo this evening, but as we continue into the early morning hours and folks kind of wrap up the night, go to bed, we'll make sure to have that air cranked because even by 6 a.m. might be too warm in your house for where you like it. Looking at those low temperatures, we talk 73 Tupelo, Amory, and Houston, but the moment we get west of 55, we're 76 to start the day in Clarksdale, Cleveland, and Greenville, 77 Tunica. Our normal 68 degrees everywhere, going to be above that to start out our Wednesday. And looking at that pool day forecast, one of the big things that we talk about are temperatures, and you can see reaching the 90s by lunchtime and beyond. Sunshine going to be shining brightly. Why that's an issue? Look at our UV index. Out in the Delta, we are in the extreme category, meaning the sun will be shining, meaning we need sunscreen on top of the water and on top of the air conditioner. So make sure to make the preparations, over-prepare, overcompensate, and you'll be glad you did as you go about any of those Wednesday plans. You can see throughout the day we're dealing with this thin layer of cloud cover, so this is not going to be any rain-producing clouds. These are more of those cirrus clouds way high aloft in the sky. But as we get into the afternoon hours, we do start to move in. Oh, is data... Oh, unfortunately, our clouds are not going to line up, but you see right there that we are still getting the reflectivity showing up. And as you see towards Holly Springs, even up there towards Bolivar, Tennessee, we're getting some of those pop-up showers. So this is what I was talking about, that limited potential late into the afternoon, into the early evening that we could see a brief shower. But I mean, we were tracking it out. There was about altogether 10 miles of folks that actually got a drop of rain. There's a lot more than 10 miles in North Mississippi, and that's a similar fashion for our Wednesday expected here by the afternoon and evening hours. We're 94 Bruce, Houston, and Amory, 92 Boonville, 93 Holly Springs, but 95 still in Belzona. Factor in those feels like values, we are up to 105 in Clarksdale, 103 Cleveland, 104 Tunica and South Haven. There are not heat advisories in place, but I don't want you guys to just go about the day unprepared. It's going to be just under that threshold. National Weather Service not electing to issue those, but let's still over-prepare like I've been talking about, because upper 90s, triple digits, that is nothing to play around with. As we do know, heat can be, unfortunately, a deadly component of weather, and we want to make sure that we're prepared for that as it moves in once again for our Wednesday afternoon. As we go about the evening hours, not expecting any drops of rain, a very similar pattern to what we're dealing with right now here in North Mississippi, so don't expect any rainfall overnight. And as we start out our Thursday, remaining clear, but unfortunately mild and muggy once again. All across the river, we're 77 from Tunica, down the river to Greenville, 75 Grenada and Greenwood, 74 Tupelo and Amory, 75 Macon and Starkville to start off your Thursday. And as the day goes on, those temperatures ramp up and that cloud cover still tries to linger around. Unfortunately, data is just now coming in, so it looks like that has stalled out, but we will have that cloud cover coming up tonight at 10 once that data is fully in place. We are still looking at that reflectivity. I know it doesn't look like anything's happening, but I assure you it is. There's just not anything to track here in North Mississippi. We have to expand things out, and you get some of those pop-up showers south of Birmingham that begin to move closer to the Auburn and Montgomery area. Here in North Mississippi, again, remaining dry, and into the afternoon, not impossible to get a pop-up shower. Sound familiar? That's the pattern we're in. We're getting these southerly breezes that's bringing in that moisture on top of the daytime heating to add some buoyancy to the atmosphere to where a shower or two is not impossible, but overall coverage remaining very, very low here in North Mississippi to get an ounce of rainfall. So yeah, there is a chance for some rain cool there. That's for about 5 miles altogether in North Mississippi. So don't plan on it. This is what you can plan on. 92 Oxford, 93 Holly Springs, 95 Houston, Starkville, 94 Columbus and Aliceville. Looking out in the Delta, we're 95 Clarksdale and Tunica, Greenwood and Belzona joining the party as well. Bringing up those heat indices, we're in the triple digits once again. And even if you're in the upper 90s, again, overcompensate because it is just going to be a hot and muggy day, all things considered. Now, Thursday night, we stay dry, and getting into our Friday, you can see rain chances do start to return. This is a frontal boundary that's going to be moving in by Friday. There is still some discrepancy in regards to which model has it right. I do think that different models are trying to output different things, but with the frontal boundary moving overhead, this increases my confidence in these rain chances continuing to verify. Right now I have it around 30%. as that front kind of moves on through for this scattered development that we'll see along the front. I think the afternoon heating will honestly add some buoyancy to where we're not tracking enough showers during the afternoon on our strike model. So I'd up those rain chances a little bit. And then continuing into the evening hours, those rain chances continue to stick around, but by then becoming more isolated and those clearing out overnight. But watch what happens Friday night. We transition the front, becomes a stationary front. Why that matters? Well, stationary fronts have very little movement to it. So this is going to allow additional development into our Saturday as it kind of looms overhead. I know it tries to move more to Alabama, but we're still getting the effects of that boundary here in eastern sections of our viewing area, allowing for that scattered development by the afternoon. But similar to Friday, we do expect this to remain about 30% for our coverage, but more widespread chances move in once Saturday wraps up and once we head into our Sunday and really into Monday. You see 40% Sunday, 60% Monday, and then those chances try to clear up a bit, 30% on Tuesday, but I still think into parts of next week we're dealing with that 20 to 30% range throughout each day next week. But Monday, that's going to be the golden ticket in regards to those rain chances and some rain-cooled air, and you can see those temperatures. They're going to be warm and muggy and hot, and whatever word you wanted to use to describe it, until those rain chances move in, and that already bringing down those temperatures. 90 by Friday, 89 Saturday, 88 Sunday, and by Monday, 85 degrees. Wow, what a cool forecast, right? Well, hey, we have to compare it to something, and it's definitely going to feel a lot better than what it does right now here in North Mississippi. So as we wrap up the 9 o'clock, I want to make sure that you guys are staying prepared. One of the best ways to do so is with that Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available on iOS and Android. Like, subscribe, follow, and download that app today, and you'll be able to stay up to date with what's happening here in North Mississippi, from the storms that we're dealing with this weekend to the hot and muggy forecast that we're dealing with right now. All the latest updates coming bright and early with our meteorologist Maggie McCauley coming up at 6:37 and 7:30 right here from the Room to Room Weather Center. And we're going to have those evening updates at 5, 6, 9, and 10, potentially tracking a pop-up shower, but really looking ahead to that dangerous heat once again. We're talking in more detail on that coming up at 10 o'clock tonight, and then we mix into our Wednesday broadcast. So don't miss out on the 10. We'll have all the latest details and all the latest data to give you the updates on those rain chances and for the temperatures ahead. We'll see you then.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.